Most people ask the wrong question about layovers. They type into Google, is 45 minutes enough for a layover? And they get 1,000 different answers because the question itself is broken. I know travelers who made a 25-minute layover with time to spare, and I know travelers who missed a 90-minute layover and spent the night sleeping on an airport bench. The difference wasn't luck, it wasn't even experience really. It was that one word that nobody includes in their Google search. Where? 45 minutes where? Because a 45-minute layover in one airport could be easy. In another airport, it could be a disaster. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly when a short layover works, when it's a terrible idea, and the 5 things I check before I ever book one. Let's go.
Dream vacations start here.
Now here's the thing. When someone asks, is 45 minutes enough, they're treating every airport like it's the same building. It's not even close. Think about it this way. If you're flying through a small regional airport, say something like Bozeman, Montana, or Bangor, Maine, your arrival gate and your departure gate might be 200 feet apart. You walk off one plane, you look up at the board, and your next gate is right there. In that scenario, 45 minutes isn't just enough, it's more than you need. But now picture this. You land at Denver International Airport and your connecting flight departs from a different concourse. You have to take the underground train. That train runs every few minutes, but during peak travel times, you might wait 2 or 3 trains before you can even squeeze on. Now you're walking, and Denver's concourses are long. We're talking a quarter mile in some cases. That 45 minutes just became 15 minutes of actual buffer, and your plane hasn't even started boarding yet. Same time, but a completely different experience. And it's not just about airport size, it's about the type of connection. A domestic-to-domestic connection on the same airline is a completely different animal than an international connection where you have to clear customs. We'll get to that. With that being said, let's start with the good news, because sometimes a 45-minute layover is generally fine, and I don't want you to stress unnecessarily. But here's something most travelers don't know. Every airport and airline combination has what's called a minimum connection time. That's the shortest connection the airline believes is possible. If the airline sells you a ticket with a 45-minute layover, it generally means that connection meets the minimum connection time. That doesn't mean it's comfortable, it just means it's theoretically doable. Here's where a short layover works in your favor. Let's run through some scenarios. Scenario number 1. Same airline, same terminal. If you're flying Delta and your connection is also Delta, and both flights use the same terminal, you're in great shape. Your bags are checked through automatically. You don't have to go back through security. You just walk from one gate to the next. Number 2, domestic to domestic connections means no immigration, no customs, no passport control. You land, you deplane, you walk, that's it. Number 3, small or mid-sized airports. Airports like Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, Austin, these are well-designed airports where the gates are close together. Even some larger airports like Phoenix Sky Harbor have very efficient layouts. A 45-minute layover there, totally doable. Number 4, nearby gates. Sometimes you get lucky and your arrival gate and your departure gate are literally next to each other. I've had connections where I could see my next gate from the seat I was sitting at on the arriving flight. In that case, 45 minutes is more than enough time to grab a coffee and still board on time. Number 5, no terminal changes. This is a big one. If you don't have to change terminals, you don't have to take a shuttle or a train, you're golden. Now I've seen travelers stress out over a 45-minute layover that was generally easy. If all 5 of these conditions line up, a small airport, same airline, domestic to domestic, nearby gates, no terminal change, 45 minutes is not a risk. It's just a short walk. But here's where things change, because the exact same layover under different conditions can go very, very wrong. Now let me show you the other side. International connections. At many major international airports like Heathrow or Frankfurt, a 45-minute international connection can be extremely risky. Depending on your route, you may have security screening, passport checks, terminal changes, or long walks that can easily consume most of your connection time. And here's something a lot of first-time international travelers don't realize. If you're flying internationally and you have checked bags that need to be rechecked, that adds another 15 to 20 minutes minimum. Now your 45-minute layover is already negative before you've taken a single step towards your gate. Large hub airports, Atlanta, Chicago O'Hare, Dallas Fort Worth, London Heathrow, Frankfurt, these are massive spread out airports. If your arriving flight lands at one end of the airport and your connecting flight departs from the other, you're looking at a 15 to 20 minute walk. Now you haven't even boarded yet, and you've burned through 30 minutes of your 45. And remember, your flight doesn't start boarding at departure time. Most domestic flights begin boarding 30 to 40 minutes before departure, and international flights often start 45 to 60 minutes before departure. So your usable layover time is actually much shorter than it appears. Terminal changes. Depending on the airport, a terminal change may require another security screening, or it may simply involve a train ride or shuttle. Either way, terminal changes usually add time and uncertainty. And then different airlines. If your first flight is on United and your connection is on American, you may need to claim your bag, switch terminals, recheck your bag, and go through security. That's not a layover. That's a project. Here's the reality, and this is important. A 45-minute layover can become a 10-minute layover very quickly. All it takes is one delayed arrival, one long security line, or one terminal change, and you're running. And if you miss that connection, now you're rebooking, waiting for the next available flight, and hoping your bag makes it to your destination when you do. Let's make sure that doesn't happen to you. Before I ever book a layover under 60 minutes, I run through a quick checklist. 5 things. If any one of these is a red flag, I add more time or I pick a different flight. Number 1, airport size. I look up the airport layout. If it's a large hub with multiple terminals connected by a train or bus, I want at least 90 minutes. If it's a smaller airport with a single terminal, 45 minutes might be fine. You can find airport maps online. Most major airports have them right on their website. Number 2, connection type. Is this domestic to domestic flight or does it involve international travel? If there's customs or immigration involved, I want at least 90 minutes, sometimes more depending on the airport. International to domestic connections are the trickiest. You have to clear immigration, claim your bag, and go through customs, recheck your bag, and go through security. That could be an hour or more at a busy airport. Number 3, airline and alliance. Am I staying on the same airline or am I switching between airlines? In most cases, when you're on the same airline and ticket, your checked bags transfer automatically. But there are exceptions, especially on some international itineraries. So always verify when you check in. Different airlines may mean I have to claim and recheck my bag. Same alliance, like Star Alliance or One World, airlines within the same alliance often transfer baggage between each other. But policies vary, so I always verify this before booking. Number 4, terminal changes. I check whether my arriving and departing flights use the same terminal. This is where airport maps come in handy. If I need to change terminals at a large airport, I add at least 30 minutes to whatever I was comfortable with. Number 5, historical flight delays. I look at whether my arriving flight has a history of being late. You can check this on FlightAware or similar sites. If the morning flight from my origin airport is chronically 20 minutes late, a 45-minute layover, this became 25 minutes. That's not a buffer, that's a gamble. Now, if you check all 5 of those things and everything looks clean, small airport, domestic, same airline, same terminal, flights running on time, a 45-minute layover is reasonable. If even one of those checks fails, you need more time. It's really that simple. If you come to me and ask me to help you book a flight, which as a travel agent happens all the time, here's the framework I would give you based on your experience level. If you're a beginner traveler, someone who flies once or twice a year or less, I aim for 90 minutes or more. Not because you can't handle a short layover, but because stress is the enemy of a good travel experience. If you're worried about making your connection the entire first flight, you're not enjoying the trip. 90 minutes gives you breathing room. If your first flight is 15 minutes late, you're still fine. If you need to stop for food or use a restroom, you have time. Peace of mind is worth the extra 45 minutes. And if you're still worried about a short connection, your seat matters. Sitting in row 8 instead of row 32 could get you off the plane 10 minutes sooner. If you're an intermediate traveler, someone who flies several times a year, knows how airports work, knows how to navigate security efficiently, 60 minutes can work. You know how to check your gate quickly, you know how to move through the airport, you know what to expect, but I'd still avoid anything under 60 unless you're at a small airport with the same airline, same terminal connections. If you're an experienced traveler, someone who flies frequently, knows specific airports well, maybe has airline status and access to expedited security lines, 45 minutes may be acceptable under the right conditions. You know which airports you can move through quickly. You know which terminals to avoid. You're not checking bags. You have the airline app open and you're watching your gate in real time. But even then, I'd say only if all 5 of those checklist items we just went through come back clean. Here's what it comes down to. A 45-minute layover isn't good or bad. It's either enough time for your specific situation, your airport, your airline, your connection type, your experience level, or it isn't. That's why asking is 45 minutes enough is the wrong question. The right question is 45 minutes enough for me at this airport, on this airline, for this type of connection? And if you can answer that question honestly, you'll dramatically reduce your chances of missing a connection. But just know, if all your flights are on the same ticket and you miss the connection because your first flight was delayed, the airlines will usually rebook you on the next available flight at no additional cost. It's frustrating, but you're generally protected. The bigger risk is losing time, not necessarily losing money. If this video helped you feel a little more confident about your next connection, let me know by giving the video a like. And if you want to help booking your next trip, figuring out the right flights, the right layovers, the right connections, that's literally what I do. Reach out through the link in the description and I'll help you plan it out. Thank you so much for watching and safe travels. I hope to catch you again in a future video.